Hello and welcome to my channel. I picked up this vintage Thunderbird kit which I'm going to turn into a mini diorama, and you can tell it's vintage because of the original price sticker. As per the warning, this kit is very small, so it's going to be fun painting all those tiny details. The side of the box shows other kits within this range, so it's just a matter of trying to track them down and seeing if they're still available. And let's have a look inside and see what we get. And that's the receipt, you don't need to see that. And we have the full instructions, all in Japanese. Thankfully the diagrams tell you what to do. Just need to cut open the packet, try and get to the sprues. We have 4 altogether, plus some other bits. The pod comes on its own separate sprue, which is green. The 3 vehicles are spread out across the brightly coloured sprues. We also have the pins for the wheels and a sticker for the container. And last of all, we have the step-by-step instructions in English, which is very considerate. Right, let's start snipping away. There are only a handful of parts for this kit, so it goes together pretty quickly. And even though the instructions help, it is pretty self-explanatory. And once I've removed the parts, it's a matter of cleaning them up and removing the tab ends. The pod for some reason comes with wheels, which I don't need or intend to use, as I'm planning on sticking the pod down to a diorama base. Because this plastic is smooth and shiny, I need to give it a sanding before I can paint it, otherwise the paint will simply just flake off. First of all, I apply the primer, then off camera I paint it green and grey where applicable. Now here it is dry fitted, so let's disassemble it. It's a little too clean for my liking, so I'm going to try the black wash and then dab off the excess with a tissue. I do this mostly for the ramp and the interior, and then I give everything a white dry brush, and once that's dried I can begin assembly. I'm just using typical model glue for this, so I'm adhering the floor to the bottom of the container. Just need to slot it into the tabs to maintain the alignment, and the ramp doesn't get glued into place, it just slots into its groove, although for my purposes it will remain open, and therefore I don't need to add the number 5 sticker to the front. And now it's just a matter of gluing the top and bottom halves together, and this part of the build is done. I just need to put it to one side to dry, and then I'll move on to something else. Now it's time to start the vehicles, and these are tiny. And just like with the pod, there aren't many parts, but they still need cleaning up before gluing and assembling them. The seam lines are pretty hard to disguise on kits this small, but I do the best that I can and hope the paint fills in the rest. The wheels at the front and rear are held together with a pin so they can rotate. The middle wheels are held in place with glue. The rotating wheels are pretty much pointless on these kits because they press up against the inside once fully assembled. Once fully assembled, they're beginning to look like toys. Hopefully a good paint job will change that. So I prime them up and then get cracking with the painting. Because the details are so small, I'm going to have to concentrate while doing this, so I won't be filming most of it. Which is better for you guys, because you can see the result pretty much straight away. And that's about as much detail as I can put into them, considering their size and scale. And moving on to the base, I have this 10mm thick piece of PVC board, but first I need to get rid of this protective film. I just need to roughly place everything out so I've got a rough idea where everything's going to go. So the basic premise is the pod's just been put down and the vehicles are on the way out to rescue somebody. Using a pencil, just draw around everything. And for the vehicles we're going to draw out some tracks. I use a Dremel to dig into the board. So not only do I need a slight indentation for the pod, I also need to scuff up the surface to make it uneven and a bit more natural. As you can see, this process is quite dusty, so it's always advisable to wear a mask. And once it's all done, it's advisable to give it a once over with a sanding sponge, as this will smooth down the rough edges and get rid of all the little bits. And that's a rough idea how it's going to look once it's done. Now it's time to enhance the ground with some ground texture. I used my finger at first thinking this would be the better option, but it was way too messy. Then I switched to an old tatty brush, although it does tend to clump up in the brush itself, so neither method wins. And once the base is covered, I add more texture by means of these mini stones and some sand. As the ground texture sets, it helps hold these in place. I try to place them as randomly as possible to make the formation feel as natural as it can be. But for extra insurance I use some fixer, as this will drip into all the nooks and crannies and hold everything together firmly. And once the glue is dried, I spray on some brown undercoat, and then I can start painting the base. And once the undercoat is dried, I use a variety of acrylic paints to provide subtle colour variations on the surface. And these are mostly shades of brown and yellow. And then to top it off, I put on a nice black trim around the edge. I have these plastic ferns which I want to use on the base. They're a little too big, so I just need to trim them down to size. And then using my tiny drill, I drill some holes for the stems. This way the plant will be more secure than just using glue alone. The plant can be a little stubborn when trying to get them into the holes, but with patience and trial and error, you'll get there. The most noticeable problem with these is they are all one shade, so I add a brown wash over them all to try some colour variation. And with a few drops of this clear Gorilla Glue, it's time to apply the Thunderbird vehicles. I find this stuff better than using super glue over large porous surfaces. Plus it will expand as it dries and cover more surface area. And before you know it, these Thunderbirds are ready to go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Thunderbirds are go. So there you have it, another Thunderbird kit completed. I will leave a link for the mole kit which I did recently. I made that one especially for my dad for his birthday, and I have a feeling this one may end up on his shelf as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.